Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarthak Bisht. I am from Uttarakhand, Halwani. So, in this video, I'm going to explain my. In this video, basically, I am going to explain a video explanation of a topic, schema validation in backend and MongoDB. So, let's get started. First of all, let me share my screen. Okay. So, this was my question. So, explain schema and schema validation. So, basically, whenever we are working in the backend part, so we will be connecting our database. So in Masai, we were taught that you can connect different types of database from the backend system. But that one we were taught about was MongoDB. So basically, to connect the database with the backend server, we need a driver. That driver is Mongoose. So with that help of that Mongoose driver, we'll be able to connect the backend part to the database, MongoDB. So in this video, I'm going to, and once the database it's connected to the database, then we can have writing our backend system according to that. So similarly, with that case, when we are writing in our backend part, most of all, so there is one stage when we have to define models in what way our data will be storing in our local storage, sorry, database. That, like, say, model can be anybody. Like, first of all, whenever a user trying to open a website, so he will be logging in, logging out. So model of user, model of its anything. So in this video, I'm going to explain that. So first start with the basic. What is schema in Mongo? Schema is basically a blueprint, you can say, how the document should be stored in the MongoDB. Like, it's kind of blueprint. Like, this is the format that you'll be storing in the database. Why do we need schema? Because schema is very important because uh, in the whenever we store data, so we need a format of the data in which data to be stored in a formatized way, so that user cannot store anything that should be of that particular schema only, not out of the box. That's why schema is very important. What is schema validation? Schema validation is basically some of the things, rules, I would say, protocols that would be followed by system to ensure that only that kind of users or that kind of fields should be added by the user. Okay, so it can be like a user schema. And how do we validate the user schema? Like, we can have right like that the user should have a name, his email ID, and his age. Out of these three, user should not enter anything of his own data, whatever you want to do. So that is why these schema validations are important. And then validation means the particular uh, functionality or particular rules that we are setting while creating a user schema. Let's say user, whenever we type a email ID is a field in a user schema. So email ID should be required, should be true. That user should have an email ID. And so we'll put required as type should be string and required is equal to true. And age for that, let's suppose we are going to have a schema for user's age. So age, we can assign that minimum age should be above 18 and maximum should be less than 50. But that is our schema. If a user enters out of that design schema validations age, so that age will not be accepted according to that. So these things are not be cleared by this practical explanation. So I'll let you to come in my VS Code where we can understand the schema and schema validation clearly. So schema validation basically comes, this particular thing is a part of our backend system whenever we're writing the models. So one of the most important things in the backend, writing the backend. So let me move to my backend system. Hmm. Okay, these are some of my previous pre-written codes, but I will let you to make a new system. Let's say I'm going to create a file backend. It's created. Okay, so I will move inside that file. Now I will install and my some initial dependencies. I will initialize this project. It will be downloaded some node modules. Okay. Now I'll be installing Express in our system. So we can see in our site our package.json. Express is dependency is installed. Now some of the most important dependency, Mongoose for connecting the database. It's basically a driver for stable connection between the backend and the backend part and the database. So, okay, Mongoose is also now Nodemon npm I. Nodemon is basically a kind of for running our server. It was a thing that refreshes automatically whatever the changes you made. Now, whenever we create our basically my most of the system is fixed. Like I have created my most of the backend part, like initial part. Now, if I want to start my project, so I will write this. Like I will make a server file first of all, server.js. Now inside the server.js, I'll be making const app equals to I will be importing Express first. Require Express. Using this, I will be creating an app. I don't know why it's not auto suggesting. So app dot listen, and I should also assign a port in that. That my port should be equal to 3000. Okay. So app dot listen, I'll be passing my port here. Console.log. Server started at port, let's say 3000. Okay. So there's my starting basic setup of my backend. Now, if I write a models, my whole main goal is to write models here. So let's say I'm writing a user. According to the question, I was asked to write a user model, right? So I have here code demonstration. According to that, we have to write a simple schema. For example, user and student schema, at least 3 to 4 validations. Okay. So let me go to my VS Code. So inside this model, I will be creating a user file, user.js, which will, from where I will be creating a schema model of users. First of all, I will import mongoose equals to require. Okay, I successfully imported the mongoose. Now, after that, because mongoose is very important because it will be providing me the inbuilt functions of schema and all that things. So now I will be creating my schema. Once user schema equals to new mongoose. Why it is not okay? Mongoose dot schema is an inbuilt function provided by mongoose. So it will help us to create a new schema, whatever the thing that will be passed by a user. So first of the one of the most thing I'll be passing a name. Okay, name, that must user should have a name. Now I'll be typing some validations. Type should be string. Whatever the name of the user, that should be string, cannot be a number. Now I couldn't write required. Required should be true. What it means, like user should enter his name. It is very required. You cannot let this field empty. That it means. Now let's say what is the second thing? Email. Same, similar to the this whatever I've written the name. It should be string. Plus email should be unique because names can be like user can different. Many people can have same name, but email ID should be unique. So I can assign that unique should be true. So unique should be true. Means email should be unique. Second thing, age. My age should be of type I think number. It should be number, of course. Why it's not auto suggesting? Why it should be number, and it also should be required as true. Now thing is course. The minimum length I should have, and I can add this inside my age, like what would be the minimum length, what would be the minimum age of that. So I can assign here only min 18. Like age should be minimally 18 of the user, and maximum it can go up to 70, I would say. Okay, that is my schema. That is called a user schema. Similarly, I can create a new schema of course. Const course schema. First new mongoose dot schema. Course can be a course name of type string. It can be course type string. Required should be true. And what else I can write inside this? Minimum length, I can write that minimum length of the course should be minimum length should be, let's say, it's not okay, let me add it later. So this should be a course type, and we can add an enum also, like number of courses we can add it like here. So enum is basically an array that is containing my number of courses that the user can choose. So courses should be, let's say, modern stack or full stack or data analytics. So these are the number of codes that I have separated using this enum. So that's how we created a user schema. Now task is not completed. I have to create the model of the schema also. So let's say student model I am creating. So I will create it like this: mongoose dot model. Okay, here I will be writing my collection name, but now how I want to my data to be stored. Student collection, I will be having this, and this collection should be following this student schema, user schema I have created here, user schema. So that's how. Similarly, we can create this course schema as well. We can create it like this: course collection, and that collection should be following that course schema. Okay, that is my thing. That is the full explanation of this user schema, how we are able to add this in the summarized way. I want to summarize it. User schema is one of the most important thing that we'll be having in our writing our backend, because everything should be defined by this. After that user schema, writing the user schema, you will be writing routes, that what kind of fields, what kind of the routes I'll be handling this. Let's say user will be handling a login and sign up page. Then after that, inside that login sign up page, you will be having writing a code of CRUD operations. So everything that should be later, that is the later thing. But one of the most important thing is the user schema, because if your schema is not defined, everything is like not worth it. So that is the thing that why we need this user schema. That's why it is very important. So I got to like to end this call. I hope you understand this. So thank you and have a nice day.